In our last investigation, we showed you how the brands you trusted have been hollowed out, how the steel got thinner, the warranties got shorter, and the planned obsolescence got bolder. Thousands of you asked the same question. What about the stuff inside our homes? The things we cannot see? Today we are answering that question with the biggest hidden scam in your house. Right now, sitting in your basement or your garage or your utility closet, there is a steel tank full of water, heated to 120 degrees, running 24 hours a day, every single day of the year. And it is dying, not because of a defect, not because you did something wrong. It is dying because a single $30 part inside it is slowly dissolving, and the manufacturer never told you it needed to be replaced. By the end of this video, you will know more about your water heater than 90% of the plumbers who install them. Let us start with the numbers, because the numbers tell you everything you need to know. There are over 100 million water heaters currently operating in American homes. Every year, 7 to 9 million of them fail and get hauled to the scrapyard. That is not a maintenance problem. That is an industry. The United States water heater market is valued at $3.5 billion, and it is projected to hit $5 billion by 2029. And here is what should disturb you. 3 companies control over 90% of that entire market. A.O. Smith makes the heaters you see at Lowe's. Rheem makes the ones at Home Depot. And Bradford White sells exclusively through plumbing contractors. You cannot even buy one directly. 3 companies, 3 distribution channels, and all 3 of them share the same business model. Sell you a tank designed to last 8 to 12 years, then sell you another one. But none of them want you to know this. Water heaters used to last a lifetime. In the 1950s and 60s and 70s, it was routine to pull a water heater out of a home that had been running for 25 or even 30 years. Plumbers who started their careers in the 1980s have reported replacing tanks originally installed in the 1950s. Some of those early units were built from copper or a copper-nickel alloy called Monel that physically could not corrode. They needed no maintenance at all, they just ran. So what happened? Why did we go from 30-year water heaters to 8-year water heaters? The answer is not complicated. It is profitable. The decline happened in stages, and you can trace it by the steel. In the 1970s, water heater tanks were built with 16-gauge steel. That is about 1.5 millimeters thick. Today, most residential tanks use 18-gauge steel. Some budget models have dropped all the way to 20-gauge. That matters more than it sounds. 16-gauge steel is about 25% thicker than 18-gauge. A tank made from 16-gauge steel might develop a pinhole after 20 years. An 18-gauge tank develops one after 10, but the manufacturers did not stop at thinning the walls. They eliminated double glass lining, which used to be the standard for every tank that left the factory. They replaced metal drain valves with cheap plastic. They downgraded the brass fittings. And most critically, they made one specific internal component smaller, cheaper, and deliberately harder to access. That component is called the sacrificial anode rod. It is the single most important part inside your water heater, and it is almost certainly a part you have never heard of. This is how it works. Your tank is made of steel, and steel rusts when it sits in water. To slow that process, the inside of the tank is coated with a thin layer of glass enamel, but that coating is not permanent. Over time, tiny cracks develop, exposing bare steel to hot water. The anode rod is the second line of defense. It is a long metal rod, usually about 44 inches, made of magnesium or aluminum, threaded into the top of your tank. It works through a principle called galvanic corrosion. When 2 different metals sit in the same water, the more reactive one corrodes first. Because magnesium and aluminum are more reactive than steel, the rod dissolves so the tank does not. That is why they call it a sacrificial anode. It gives its life to protect yours, and nobody told you it was dying. That rod is designed to be consumed. It needs replacement every 3 to 5 years. In hard water areas, which covers 85% of American homes, or in homes with a water softener that accelerates corrosion by up to 3 times, that rod can dissolve in as little as 6 months. One home inspector in Minnesota documented a rod that was completely gone after just 1 year. And the moment that rod is consumed, the water starts eating the steel tank itself. From that point, you have maybe 3 to 5 years before a leak or a full rupture. And here is the part that should make you angry. The information about this rod technically exists in your owner's manual. It is buried in the fine print, on a page most homeowners never read, right next to the section about warranty exclusions. Some manufacturers explicitly state that damage caused by failure to maintain the anode rod voids your entire tank warranty. They know this part determines everything. They designed the whole system around it, but they also know that if every homeowner replaced their anode rod on schedule, the replacement market would collapse overnight. Why sell you a $30 rod every 3 years when they can sell you a $1,500 water heater every 8? But it gets worse. Because the anode rod is not just a buried maintenance secret, it is the foundation of an entire pricing scam. Walk into any home improvement store and you will see water heaters lined up by warranty. 6-year, 9-year, 12-year. The 12-year model costs $200 to $300 more than the 6-year model. Most people assume that extra money buys them thicker steel, better insulation, superior engineering. It does not. Plumbers who have torn these units apart and matched actual manufacturer part numbers have confirmed that the 6-year and 12-year models from the same brand use the exact same tank. Same steel, same glass lining, same insulation, same heating elements. The only difference is the anode rod. The cheap model gets a single aluminum rod that wears out quickly. The premium model gets a magnesium rod, or sometimes 2 rods instead of 1. One homeowner recounted what his plumber admitted directly. The plumber said that when a customer wanted the longer warranty, he had a roll of stickers in his truck. He would peel one off and apply it to the exact same unit he was already installing. No difference in the water heater whatsoever. You are paying a $200 to $300 premium for a component that costs the manufacturer a few dollars to upgrade. A replacement magnesium anode rod costs $20 to $50 at any hardware store. Several experienced plumbers independently recommend the same approach. Buy the cheapest 6-year warranty heater. Buy your own magnesium anode rod. Install it yourself. You have just built a 12-year water heater for a fraction of the price. But saving money on the purchase only matters if you understand what you are actually preventing. Now let us talk about what happens when this system fails you, because the financial damage is where this story turns devastating. 69% of all water heater failures result in a slow leak or a sudden burst. A ruptured 50-gallon tank connected to a live water supply can dump hundreds of gallons per hour into your basement at 2 in the morning while your family sleeps. The average insurance claim from a water heater failure is $4,444. That is after the deductible. Broader water damage claims from the resulting flooding average $10,000 to $14,000. Water heater failure ranks among the top 5 sources of residential water damage in the United States, and the replacement unit itself runs $1,200 to $3,500 installed, with emergency, same-day service costing 40 to 60% above normal because they know you are desperate. Added up, and a single water heater failure can cost you $5,000 to $17,000, and the waste is staggering. 7 to 9 million water heaters are scrapped every single year in this country. Each one contains steel, copper, brass, and insulation that took enormous resources to manufacture. Most municipalities ban them from standard landfills. All of that waste, all of that cost, all of that damage is preventable with a $30 anode rod every 3 to 5 years. One dedicated homeowner on a plumbing forum documented 19 water heaters over his lifetime, where he replaced the anode rod every 2 years without fail. Every single one of those tanks reached 25 years or more. He even tested 4 of the cheapest budget tanks from a big box store, and every one of them hit 12 plus years with 0 signs of failure. The math is not subtle. $30 in prevention or $5,000 in damage. That is not a decision. That is a test of whether you have the information. Now you have it. Here is what you do with it. First, the simplest option. If your water heater is relatively new, go buy a magnesium anode rod and replace it yourself. It is a 30 to 60 minute job. You need 1 socket wrench, a breaker bar, some Teflon tape, and a garden hose. Turn off the power, drain a few gallons, unscrew the old rod from the top of the tank, and thread in the new one. That is it. Do that every 3 to 5 years and your tank can last 20 years or more. If you already own a water heater that is less than 5 or 6 years old and want a permanent solution, the single best investment you can make is a powered anode rod. Unlike a sacrificial rod that dissolves over time, A powered anode uses a titanium core connected to a small electrical current that stops the rusting process entirely. The rod never dissolves. It uses less than $3 of electricity per year, and it eliminates the rotten egg sulfur smell within 24 hours. The market leader is a company called Corro-Protec, manufactured in Canada. It costs about $160, carries a 20-year warranty, and has been independently lab tested to confirm it works for over 2 decades. It is only 12 inches tall, so it fits in tight closets where a standard 44-inch sacrificial rod would never clear. But there is one critical warning. A powered rod cannot undo rust damage that has already happened. If your tank has been running without anode protection for 6 or 7 years, the steel is likely already compromised. This is prevention, not a cure. Install it early. If you are buying new, 2 tanks eliminate the rusting problem completely. The Rheem Marathon uses a blow molded plastic tank wrapped in fiberglass. It physically cannot rust. It needs no anode rod whatsoever. It carries a lifetime tank warranty for the original owner and costs $800 to $1,200. Electric only, but for electric homes, this is the tank that never dies. The second is the HTP Everlast, built from surgical-grade stainless steel with laser-welded seams. Also, a lifetime residential warranty, $1,200 to $1,600. Neither of these tanks will ever rust. Neither will ever need a maintenance part replaced. They are the water heater equivalent of cast iron cookware. Built once, built to last forever. And for those ready to skip the tank entirely, tankless units from Rheem, Navien, and Noritz are engineered to last 20 to 30 years, according to Department of Energy estimates. Rheem has the strongest reliability record. Noritz offers a 25-year warranty on the heat exchanger alone, and Navien leads in energy efficiency. Unlike a tank where one rusted through wall ends the whole unit, a tankless system has individually serviceable components. The heat exchanger, the burner, the flow sensor, they can all be replaced without scrapping the machine. They do require annual descaling in hard water areas, but that is maintenance, not a death sentence. No tank means no catastrophic flood risk. Installed costs run $4,700 to $8,800, but over 2 decades, total ownership roughly matches replacing 2 or 3 conventional tanks. Here is the verdict. The water heater industry thinned the steel, they shrunk the anode rods, they killed the double glass lining, they consolidated into 3 corporations, and they built a warranty tier system that charges you hundreds of dollars for a part that costs them pennies. The result is millions of tanks slowly corroding in the dark across America, each one a future emergency call, each one a future $1,500 sale. And the only thing standing between you and that bill is a $30 metal rod that nobody told you about. Now you know. Replace your anode rod, upgrade to a powered one, or buy a tank that cannot rust. The information is no longer hidden. If this investigation opened your eyes, hit subscribe so you do not miss the next one. Because the appliance industry has more buried secrets, and we are just getting started.